Hello everyone and welcome back to More Than Drill and Drum,
the podcast where we talk about drill, drum and more.
My name is Jemima.
And I am Tyreese.
And today it is going to be all about Team Drill. I'm excited.
So sit back, relax and enjoy. Hello Jemima.
I'm laughing because you're just giving me that look.
What can I say, man? I'm excited to, sit down, chat, talk all about drill and drum. Here we are.
You're not really giving too much excitement right now.
Oh, I mean, you started off the intro by saying it's all about drill and you just left me and I'm just like...
But it's more than drill and drum.
Well, we'll see about that, won't we? I must say though, today I feel a little bit on edge because of our guest.
Why? Because
we've had this person on not only for a Reacts episode.
True.
But she's an OG. She was here for the tester episode.
The pilot episode.
Oh my gosh. And I just hope that she's seen that I've grown into my out of my shell, and I'm like a good host now. So
do you know what? I think at some point we need to release even just snippets of that pilot episode.
I don't know if I'm mentally ready for that. I can't even watch it myself.
But I think for the viewers, you've got to let them know how far we've come.
Okay, let's say if this video
gets
what would be a good number?
Maybe should we ask in the comments below what number we should have?
I think if we have the number, that's something for them to aim for.
It's true.
I'd say 30.
30 what?
30 likes.
30 likes.
Just plain old
Only 30 likes.
Just 30 likes.
Only 30 likes.
And we'll release a little snippet of that first pilot episode.
Wow.
Oh boy, it's getting hot. But anyways, on to our guest. Mm-hmm. Would you like to do the introduction?
I would be honoured to do the introduction. On the save today, we have an OG driller. She is like my doppelganger, counterpart, twin. I mean, let's just say this. We had to make sure that we didn't have the same hairstyle going into this episode. And so we would love to introduce to our safers, Amy. Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you. I love sitting in this seat.
When I was setting up the mics, she came in and she was like, I'm not feeling so well. She put the headphones on, put the mic on. She's like, I'm okay now.
She's 100 right now.
How are you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad, thank you.
And you just came back from a drill practice.
I did.
You're still active in the
I
drill
know.
world.
Fresh in uniform.
Literally.
Come on now.
What are you guys preparing for?
We're preparing for World Pathfinder Day.
Ooh,
So it's this week. Mm-hmm. We were just brushing up on a couple of routines, learning some new things. I was very impressed with our drillers. If you're watching this, guys, you did really well today. But yeah, it was really good practice.
That's amazing. Now, can you tell us, what can people expect to see that you guys are going to be bringing out on World Pathfinder Day?
You can expect to see some confident drill.
Come on now.
You can expect to see some routines with a little bit of domino effect.
Okay.
So just be excited, be ready.
And
God willing, everything will go perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. But let's be real. How often does a drill routine
As soon as the words came out of my mouth, I said, perfect. There's never been perfect. Let's hope it all goes well.
But on that, why do you feel like that is? That it never fully goes to plan?
I think there's always new elements being added at the last minute. So not necessarily for your routine, but just, where are we going to be on the stage? Or are people going to be in our way? Do we have to march around them? What does the route that we're going to march even look like? So you have to be very adaptable when it comes to drill.
So the drillers compared to the drummers are just a little bit less disorganized.
The drillers are less disorganized?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say...
More.
Wow.
Oh no.
Then once when you lay the
Oh no.
I wouldn't say it's a matter of organization. I think it's just a matter of life happens and different things come into play. Like, wasn't expecting that. How do we work around that? But you're doing that on parade. So these thoughts, you have to be problem solving in seconds. And then everyone problem solving in the same way, or knowing, that person's going to solve the problem. I see the problem. I'm just going to follow them and do what they do.
I don't think there has been like the perfect situation. There's always something that pops up. But the fact that we're able to continue doing the routine, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do a little bit of a get to know me session with you, Amy, right now. So tell us a little bit about yourself so that our viewers can just get more of a flavour of what you're about.
So,
I'm getting deja vu, man.
oh, why are you getting deja vu?
In that pilot episode where we were introducing ourselves and it was, I'm Tyreese, I'm a psychology student.
It was,
and you were doing your philosophy.
Amy, a philosophy student.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm a philosophy graduate. And I got a first.
Come on.
So, yeah, I finished uni in May, graduated in July, started my job in June. So, quick turnaround. So I'm an executive assistant. Sorry. So I work down in London at where I support 3 executives. And then I'm commuting from Leicester.
See, the funny thing is, she's still atting herself out.
This is my address. My phone number. No, so yeah, I'm a commuting Londoner. Ooh, crazy.
Why you say
Because it's so strange. The other day, my auntie, she graduated in London, and we were trying to get from A to B, and I was like, don't worry guys, I got this. We'll take this tube and we'll go from here to here.
Yeah.
No Google Maps, I just knew. And I was like, she's a Londoner. Crazy.
Fair enough. So how often do you find time to do drill? Because your schedule sounds busy, man.
It's so busy. So right now, it's once a month. It's going to go up to twice a month because I am also now training to be a drill instructor for the NEC. Awesome. So I will be the drill instructor for my area, which is Area 4. So if you're in Area 4, shout me, I got you. So it will be twice a month, or if there's performances, it will be a little bit more than that.
So as a drill instructor, what are the main differences?
As in from being a driller? I think there's a lot more preparation that comes into play, and also having that foresight of what could go wrong, which you have to have a little bit as a driller, but as a drill instructor, everyone's looking at you. So I feel like I already kind of have that a little bit within the team, where it's like, oh, what do we do next? Let's ask Amy. But it just becomes a more official capacity. And
get a nice fancy badge.
Exactly. So getting my lanyard on Sabbath.
Okay.
Yes.
So that'll be cool. But then also preparing, okay, these are the people we have. What's everyone's capabilities? We've got 5 people. 5 is not a good draw number. We've got 15 people. Or we do have 5 people. How are we going to make this work and stuff like that? So yeah.
So with the area that you're wanting to manage, is that quite a big area?
I think Area 4 is actually the biggest area.
Oh.
Really?
Or has the most pathfinders in. So
You're just being handed
I
responsibilities.
know, no pressure.
Actually, leveling up now. You mentioned there that 5 is not a drill number, or at least one that's good.
Yeah.
Why?
So typically, if it's divisible by 5, it's good. If it's divisible by 5 and 3, so like 15 is a nice little, if we're doing maths now, 15 is a good drill number. If it's divisible by 3 and 4, like 12, even numbers in general are quite good because you can have your mirror image. Mirror image? It's been a long weekend. So typically even numbers are good. Big multiples of 5, big-ish multiples of 3, then you can have your 3 ranks or 3 columns or files or however you do it.
But isn't that just dependable on how many ranks and columns you actually have? Like,
It
can you
is.
not just make it work?
You can make it work, but like 9 is nicer than 7. Because if I have 7, how many ranks am I doing?
Oh, because you're going to get a blank file. Something.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Okay.
Especially if you're doing a routine. If it's just like we're just practicing our precision drill or something like that, then it's fine. But in terms of the formations that you can do, having those special numbers is just a lot nicer.
I agree. I think 24.
Ooh,
That is a
sweet.
chef's kiss drill number.
And 12, now you got 666. We're crossing over.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, I think like 3 of each drummer. Ooh.
Yeah, okay. Sure, yeah. If you haven't noticed already, I am team drill very firmly.
So on that, how did you become part of Team Drill, and where did your journey start?
Bring us back.
So I actually started as a drummer.
Come on.
Wow.
That was my origin. I was a tenor. So what we did is we had auditions for drumming.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 or 5 of us made it through. So I think we had 2 snares. It was 4 of us, 2 snares, a tenor, and a bass. And Mongi was one of them. He was one of our snares.
How long ago was
Which
this?
came on this podcast,
Yeah.
so make sure you watch that episode.
Check that out.
So that was 2016.
No.
I know because it's
Throwback.
one of the first images in my phone. So if you go back to the beginning, it is that event that we had in like a community, well, not community centre, in the local theatre. We had a performance. So we started off as a drummer. And then we would our drum instructor was also our drill instructor, just like the club in general.
Right.
So when we were doing drill, I was like, not to brag, but I'm kind of good at this. Like, it just feels easy.
So humble.
And then we would do drill downs, and I would quite often win them. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. And then there was a camp in Wales, which I don't remember what year that was. Does anyone remember? It was the Anchor, that was the theme. Grey t-shirts. If anyone knows, put it in the comments below. But yeah, so we were there, and then there was a massive drill down, and I was the second last person.
Wow.
And the first person.
So you lost.
Okay, can we just pause? The first person was on the NEC drill team.
Wow.
Okay.
So technically I won because they don't count. Out of the non-professional drillers, I got pretty fast. So I was very impressed with myself. And from there, that's where my passion kind of like grew. And then how I got into the NEC drill... team was through boot camp 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
It is 2.5. It was in May. It was my first... Yeah, it was because it was the summer of my first year of uni. And that's where I met Tyreese.
Hello.
And that's where I met some of my best friends, Shay and Chrissy, who are also on the podcast, so check out the episodes. And from there, it's been going up. So yeah.
Wow.
I feel like that was really long.
It's a beautiful story,
Yeah,
man.
Thank
quite
you.
comprehensive. And it just seems like one thing led to the next thing, to the next thing. And here you are nearly at the top of your game now. That did tickle me though when you were like professional drillers. It's just another level.
Throughout that journey that you've gone through, best experience drilling?
Oh. See, I feel like I knew this question was coming from watching the other podcasts.
Yeah.
But life has been so busy, I haven't had time to prepare. Either this year or last year, the second PBE at Leeds. So actually not in Scotland.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought you were going to bring up the Scotland one.
So Scotland was really good, but I don't know. I think there was just something. I think it was last year. Did we do Leeds twice for the second and third one?
Yeah, I think we did.
So maybe last year, the BUC Leeds.
You've lost me.
Maths again. Yeah. So last year, 2023, the last PBE of the 3.
Okay,
so
yeah,
March.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just think that was really good.
Yes.
And I don't know what it.
When you know,
I don't know what it was. It was just everything felt clean. We were prepared. Things went well because things are always going wrong. You come back, you watch the video. Oh, made a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake there. But it was like, guys, we did it, and it was really good.
Was that when you had to do it in the morning and then the afternoon?
Yeah.
So that's when you perfected it in the afternoon?
Exactly.
Okay.
So typically at PBE, the afternoon goes better than the morning because you've had a little bit of practice.
That's
So,
it.
yeah.
Shake off those cobwebs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. There was just something, even while the performance was going on, where you could almost feel like the gel setting into place. Like, wow, every bit of work is just being secured in this moment right now. Yeah.
I was trying to think what I was doing with the drummers. We were just drumming, man. But you're making this sound so poetic.
It was really good. And then was that also when we created a routine during the day?
Yeah.
And then we performed it in the afternoon. And it didn't go perfectly, but it was like, we made this like 2 hours ago. And it was quite a long routine.
It actually was.
But the fact that everyone picked it up so quickly, and it was like, well done, guys. I'm just so proud of you. And it just felt good. So that was probably my favourite drill experience so far.
Do you know what comes next?
What comes next?
What was the worst drill experience?
Okay, maybe not worse because it was terrible, But for World Pathfinder Day last year, in general, it was quite a good performance. But that was one of my first times instructing and calling out while we were on parade. So doing that is a completely different experience to just drilling on parade, because you have to think about calling things correctly as well as, or at the same time as, doing everything correctly. So my calling was good, but then at one point I just forgot the routine. And if you go back and find the stream, there's one point where we about turn to face the back of the square. We do whatever, we about turn to face forward, and we're supposed to take a couple steps, and I don't, and I just stand there. And I'm like, oh, okay. But because I was at the back, and I think the camera's at the front, you didn't really catch it too badly. But I was just like, wow, Amy, you just forgot to move. So I'd say maybe that was my worst experience. My most blatant mistake, where everyone's marching and I'm just not.
But it happens to the best of us. And to be fair, I think you can style it out. For all we know, it could have been choreographed.
Yeah.
You know, one driller just stays for a moment.
I must say, at least she didn't have an audience to go, ooh.
That would have probably made me cry.
That's what Tyreese and I were laughing about earlier, because in our last Reacts video,
We were watching a drill performance and someone made a mistake. And we instinctively went like, ooh. But the fact that we heard the crowd out there go, ooh.
Oh, no. That would be terrible. Because usually it's like, oh, guys, if you make a mistake, it's fine. People don't really realise. But obviously everybody
They're being watched by
realised.
hundreds of people.
No, literally.
Yeah, no, that might break me if that happened.
In their defense, it could have been a crowd with a lot of drillers in there. And, you know, when you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But the show must go on.
It must.
You mentioned earlier about sitting and watching videos of performances like just afterwards. Is that helpful, or does it breed criticism in drillers?
I think you can have constructive criticism. So especially in an instance where you have a performance in the morning and in the afternoon and you're doing the same thing, it's really helpful to say, okay, this is what I did wrong. So specifically, this is what I need to not do wrong. Because it just means everything else came to you naturally, and that one mistake also came to you naturally. So that's the one mistake you need to think about more. And then you can also potentially spot things as a group. Maybe our arms weren't swinging high enough, or when we took our pace backwards, it wasn't a full pace backwards, which is something which is quite common in Pathfinder. So to be able to point that out and let people know that's the slight error that was made, which can be corrected, is a good thing, because then we can correct it, and then we look better afterwards. So I'd say it's a good thing.
You sound like such a drill instructor.
Thank you.
What do you think is something that you've had to work on throughout your drilling journey? Like a mistake you've had to correct?
I'd say if the routine is particularly complex, making sure I'm always moving off on the correct foot.
Okay.
Because in Scotland,
Well,
doing so much. And at one point I did not move off on the wrong foot, which wasn't terrible. But there was also a performance at another PBE where I was bearing a flag on stage and I was somehow on the wrong foot, didn't realise it. So when it came to halt, I said, uh-oh. And I kind of, and I had to try and style that out. So now I'm like, always make sure that you're moving off on your left foot. So I'd probably say that's one of my repeated mistakes.
I remember walking down somewhere and I was on the wrong foot. And I realised, I was like, oh my gosh, are they looking at me? Can they? Do they know what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Just change my foot.
Or even there was a Remembrance Day parade that we were doing, maybe last year. And at one point, I was just confused at the new beat that was being played, and I was on the wrong foot. And I had to correct myself. And one of the aunties from church had a video. She was like, Amy, you did a little skip step at one point. I did. I got caught out right as I was going past the camera. And I was like, yes, I had to correct my foot. She's like, I thought you were supposed to do that. I thought so. So, yeah.
One that I'm still working on to this day is this the arm swinging, man. Like, my arms are just long, man. Like, I've got to put extra brain power to say, you know what, this actually needs to be straightened out. How can I work on that? Is it like a broomstick while I'm marching?
Let's ask the drill instructor.
Practice. I think one thing that I have done, the broomstick reminded me of something.
Okay.
Where we were practicing wheeling with the team. and the wheel wasn't quite wheeling the way it was supposed to. So I said, everybody hold on to the shoulder of the person next to you.
I was just thinking
and
that.
we're gonna wheel, so now you have to be in line with the person next to you. We did that a couple of times, you put the arm down, and now it works. So it's kind of like put the broomstick up your sleeve type of thing, just to make sure those lines are moving. But you might just have to, I think recording yourself and watching yourself back, sometimes it hurts.
You know how hard it is to edit these podcasts, and you want me to do that with drilling?
But it just makes you think, oh, that wasn't quite right. That wasn't quite right. It's kind of similar to when dancers practice in front of a mirror so they can see themselves. If you can see yourself and you can see not necessarily mistakes you're making, just things that could be a bit better.
Just thinking of the secondhand embarrassment, man. Just
The
why
video
am I
doesn't
getting
have to
it
go
wrong?
anywhere.
Yeah, just you.
You can save it in the private section of your phone if you want to. No one ever has to see it.
Exactly.
Any mistakes that you had to work on over the years?
For me, it was my halting leg.
Okay.
Just getting that angle. So in general, my angle is a little bit loose. So ideally when you halt, you want to halt at 90 degrees. But mine can just be out at like 100, 105 and it's a little bit loose. So yeah, bringing that in so it's more of an up down. But I think that is something that has happened gradually. And just like how you can naturally progress into form, I think you can also naturally progress out of form. So like little bad habits, when you don't pick them up, when you don't watch the video or don't practice in the mirror, those are the ones that can perpetuate. But then likewise, you can just work it back into where it needs to be.
Thank you for sharing that.
Well,
Thank you for being vulnerable with us, you know? I'll keep a lookout for that leg.
It's a safe space. I'll look out for
no,
you
no,
as
no,
well.
no.
It doesn't always come naturally. And I think there are certain things that you have to put more time and thought and energy into. For you, has drill always felt natural?
I think so. I think sometimes for me, in terms of learning things, I don't get it as quickly as others. But the movements individually generally come together for me quite easily. And I'm just blessed that that's the situation. But I think even if something doesn't come naturally to you, if you work hard at it, you'll still get good at it. So you might have to put in that extra bit of practice, but it will be worth it in the end.
How much do you practice?
Ooh.
So I wouldn't say I practice regularly. I think I drilled more when I was at uni than I do now because life is so busy now.
Adulting, man. How do they have time?
Adulting is not fun, guys.
Some adults have kids.
It's long.
Other human beings.
Literally, that you have to raise and develop in the way that they should get. It's long.
Boy.
So when I was at uni, particularly when we studied together, we'd have little drill breaks. You're like, do you want to drill? Do you want to drill? Yeah,
I
let's
was
just
never
get going.
invited to those. I studied with both of you at one point, and I never got like a little, oh, do you want to drill? Do you want to drum?
If you could turn back time to the good old days. But yeah, so I think I drilled more. Also my third year room had such a big space.
That space was too sweet
It
for
was
drill.
so nice.
Yeah.
So sometimes just get off bed, do a little bit of drill. That was nice.
With the mirrors. Stop
Exactly.
Or was it just an open space?
It was just quite a large room with lots of floor space and a wall-to-wall mirror.
Oh, okay.
Just perfect for drilling, really. Drilling, dancing, anything. But now I drill at practice and that's it, really. So I would love to drill more, but life be lifing.
So in an ideal world, how would you practice drilling outside of like a drill practice?
So if I'm doing precision drill, I think that's something that's quite easy to do in quite a limited space.
Precision drill being...
So precision drill being... your
Try not to stumble on the word, you know?
Precision drill being your most basic and fundamental moves of drill. So things like left turn, right turn, about turn, your paces, things like that. You don't really need much space to do those. So just doing them when you can. Something's in the microwave, just left turn, right turn. Got his socks on the slippery floor. It's a nice feeling. So things like that is quite easy to do. And then if you're part of a squad who has routines, maybe just practicing the ones that you've developed, or if you're someone who's into choreographing a little bit of drill and sharing it with your team or your friends. So it depends what your preference is, but it is doable.
If you have a routine, do you think it's worth learning multiple sections, or do you just stick to your part that you need to learn?
definitely learn multiple sections because drill on the day, the person who might be in that space might not be there, or there might be an extra person and now you've got to move positions. So I think it's just worth knowing everything. Also, maybe if you freeze up and you don't know what part you're on, but you can see what someone else is doing, you say, okay, that's where this is in the routine. So this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I think just being able to know it holistically and know all the parts is really, really valuable, as opposed to just knowing your part, which is still good. If you only have the capacity to learn your part and get it good, then that's fine. But if you have the capacity to learn other people's parts as well, then I would really suggest that.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of brain power.
A lot of visualizing as well, actually. Do you watch drill?
I do watch drill. Most of the drill that I watch is my drill. With an eye of criticism a little bit. But sometimes I will just type in fancy drill into YouTube and see what comes up. And it's so fun. I'll just be watching like, oh, that was good. Oh, that was kind of like your reacts, but just by myself. So sometimes I do watch other people's drill and it's good to get inspiration from them or see what they do differently. So in different countries, some people do about turn differently and it's interesting to just, how easy is that to do? What do I prefer? Kind of thing. So yeah.
I must say, give fancy drill like a search in 2-3 months. Maybe some 2024 Wyoming action is there now.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about doing precision drill and your journey of drill, but you also brought up choreography. How do you do that from a drilling perspective?
So I think it's quite hard. You have to have a particular type of creative mind. So me personally, I can choreograph drill, but it's not my preference. So I'm in the space where I'm like, Lachey, can you choreograph something, please? And then I'll teach it. But I think it's a matter of taking the fundamental elements that you know and kind of rearranging them in interesting ways. Or looking at your paces and your angles and the shapes that you can do. So quite a lot of drill is about your formation. So it's just thinking, okay, so how do we get to this formation? How do we make it look clean and snappy? Because you don't want to take 10 years just to get into that one position. You want people to understand what you're trying to do. So I think it's about kind of like when you're younger and you have to cut up a magazine and rearrange things and stick them in different places. Then you look at that and you cut that up and stick things in different places. It's sort of like that.
Would you prefer to drill when there's already a drum beat? Would you prefer to have a choreographed drill routine and then the drum beat be created for that? I hope those are two different things.
I'm not sure they are, but I understand the question.
I think, well, now I'm asking myself, did I hear what I thought,
exactly.
or did I hear what I
Eyewitness
heard?
testimonies, they're not good, you know, if you're recording information.
But then I feel like there's a third option in there. Or
Drop the drilling completely and just do drumming.
Wow.
Okay. There's a fourth option, drop the drumming completely.
So maybe, can I ask a side question?
Okay.
Do you prefer to drill with or without drums?
I think I prefer to drill with drums just because I think they come as a package.
Okay, that's quite embracive, wholesome, okay.
Team drill.
So back to my question, because you obviously understand, I'm not even going to try to say it again.
So drums come before, drums come after.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends really, because there are some drum beats which you hear and you're like, oh, this move to this bit would look so good. Exactly. And I can hear it in my head. I can see the drill. But yeah, so there's some things where you're listening and you think, oh, this particular move would look really snappy at that position.
Okay.
But then at the same time, drill has to be versatile enough to fit any drum beat almost.
Okay.
So it even works where you can have a routine which was built to drums which were playing at quick march tempo, and then you go to slow march tempo and you try and think, oh, how can we slow this routine down in a way that still looks good? What are the numbers, the paces? Are we taking 2 paces? Is it doubling? Is it halving? So I think you can do both. And I think having the ability to do both and the skill to do both is really important.
Okay.
So I don't know that I have a preference.
So zooming out a little bit, how do you feel like drill has impacted your wider life?
Oof.
I feel like it has meant that I'm practicing my problem skills regularly, which interestingly enough, a lot of my job now is problem solving and looking at what could be a problem in the future, what the best solution is, And you're doing that all the time in drill actively. So I think that's been something. And then it's also impacted my life in a positive way in terms of the socializing because some of my best friends are in drill. So being able to see them outside of drill and drill together, or being able to see them in drill practice and just being around them is so good. So like yesterday, me and Shay went to Newbold. Did I say me and Shay?
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yesterday, me and Chrissy went to Newbold to see Shay, and we ended up doing some drill together, and it was just really nice. So socialization and just the happiness in my life, yay, mental health. So yeah, in that aspect as well.
So you're going to have to help me out with this plug, Jemima, but the topic of friendship has come up on so many episodes, and there's no way it could be so consistent, and they think that we're lying to them. Find yourself at a drill or drum practice.
Literally.
Go there more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and you will find good friends. Okay? Okay. Cool.
Say no more. But it is so true. There's just something about it. Like even beyond the drilling movements themselves, like just that practice environment is sweet.
And I feel like sometimes there's a little bit of we struggle together to get things which bonds us. It's like, you're not getting it, I'm not getting it, what are we doing? Or as a whole group, it's like, guys, that was really bad, let's do it again. But you can have like those jokes and that camaraderie with the team, even if those aren't people you're quite familiar with. So yeah, it's a nice environment.
I love that. Do you think being in a drill team is different to being in other team sports or recreational activities?
So I play netball. Netball is a team sport. So I think there are slight differences. So in terms of your communication, so in netball, everybody should kind of always be communicating with each other. Like, I'm here, I'm free, you need to move to the left if someone else is blocking you, etc., etc. Whereas with drill, sometimes most of the communication has to happen before the performance. But during the performance, there might just be 1 or 2 people going outwards as opposed to everybody communicating with each other. But I think
that would be mayhem. Can you imagine doing a routine?
All shouting at each other. It'd be chaos. I think both or all team sports require a level of discipline, but also a level of awareness. So you need to be sure of what you're doing, but you also need to be sure of what other people are doing. So when I'm drilling, I need to make sure that my dressings are correct. I need to make sure I'm not too close or too far, that I'm still in line. When I'm playing netball, I need to make sure that I'm not going into the same position as my teammate. Otherwise, we're bringing all our defenders in, or we're bringing all our attackers to the same place. So I think there are similarities between all team sports. They're just used in a slightly different context. But transferable skills, put that on your CV, guys.
But for real, like, it's actually something to put on your CV.
100%.
Because, yeah, those are real life skills that I agree absolutely do transfer. And I think with drill, perhaps something that's a little bit different is how aware you have to be of the things that are going on outside your drill team. So like when you're in a team sport, you've got the court to think about. When you're doing a drill performance, you've got your team and the crowd and the equipment. So like you've got colours going, then you also got the drummers to think about. And so there's a lot of lateral thinking I think you've got to do, and it's very quick as well. Even though it might sound kind of scary to start off with, I do think you grow to develop that level of awareness.
I think even in terms of people being in your space, like if I'm playing netball, only the netballers will be on the court. But if I'm drilling on a parade, there might be members of the public. If we're going through town, there's cameras everywhere.
Really, yeah.
Even when you're, say, in a venue or in a hall and you're going down the aisles, sometimes people are in the way because their spatial awareness isn't that great. So you need to be thinking, how can I get around this person or get them out of the way? So there's a lot more that you have to be thinking of in terms of what are other people who aren't even in the team doing.
From the drill perspective, well, typically drill and drum, but I think more drilling, there's a lot of flags involved. I have to word this question correctly in case it backfires on me. But what is the importance of flags? Like, why are they essentially a priority?
I think not just in Pathfinders, but in everything that requires flags. So like if you look historically at people who are waving their flags, flags on castles, flags on ships. It's kind of saying to everybody, this is what we represent. And I think when you look at it from a Pathfinder perspective, most of the flags are church related. So it's like, who are we representing? We have our union flag, we're representing the country, but then we're representing us as Adventists, us as Pathfinders, us as adventurers. So this is what's important to us. And at the centre of all of that is God. So God is going first, essentially, through those flags.
I like that.
Thank you. It's the philosophy coming back to me.
So, Amy, for somebody who might be an onlooker of drill, who wants to get involved, they're trying to be like you, what advice would you give them?
I would say go to your nearest Pathfinder club and try and get involved that way. If your club isn't really big into Pathfinders, maybe if you know who the drill or drum coordinator for your area is, Area 4. But also, say it was at an event and you want to get involved, just come up to one of us. So if you recognise someone who had a flag or who was guarding the flag or who was introducing the drillers or the drummers, just go to them and say, I really like what you're doing and I want to get involved. You can go through the auditions process, you can go through boot camp. So I say there's lots of different ways to get involved. And if you can, you should.
Awesome. Well, Amy, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you back with us.
For at least the third time. So thank you for having me.
And we hope that this won't be the last time in one
Definitely
way or
not.
another. So that brings us to the end of today's episode.
But make sure you don't go now. There's a lot more content on our YouTube channel.
And to be honest, while you're here, you may as well just
Like, comment,
and...
Wait! I heard it. If you minimize the screen and I say subscribe, it should change colour. Let me know if it did, please.
And we will see you next time here on More Than Drill and Drum.
Do you want to ask your question? And then, is this already? Sorry, I'm just going to sit back. Sorry if I came up with it.
Wow. Is that a sign?
The mic said it's time to stop.
For real?
Adulting sucks. It's a scam. Don't be an adult, guys. It's terrible.